Good evening and welcome finally to Raconteurs News. We've had a few technical gremlins, but I think that we've sorted them out now, thanks to Tony, who's producing for us tonight. Welcome to Raconteurs News. It's Tuesday the 25th of April, which means that I've got only 3 more days of being 46, and then I'm going to be 47. So it's an exciting time going up to that, another year gone. And we've got a brilliant, fantastic guest for ourselves this evening. It's over a year since we spoke to her last, and it's independent filmmaker Diane Jesse Miller, director of the film, the Rik Mayall's final film, One by One. So, hello, Diane. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hello. Well, first of all, I thought you called me a gremlin, but then you made up for it and said that I was really nice and wonderful. So that makes me happy. Yes, I can't believe it's been over a year since. How quick has that time gone? So, I've been looking forward to coming back. I always like coming and speaking to you guys. So, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, unfortunately, Andy's having a little bit of time off, personal time, and I've been away for a couple of weeks as well. So this is my first show back since I've had to have a little bit of time off, and Andy's also off. But I think the two of us we should be able to fill this time together, don't you think?
I mean, I don't shut up, so I'm pretty sure we're safe.
Okay, well, what I wanted to do, I mean, it's been over a year. What I wanted to ask you, first of all, I didn't want to ask you what you've been doing in the last year, but what I really wanted to ask you is, what have you learned from the last year?
Oh, that's a really good question. What have I learnt in the last year? I've learnt so much. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of one thing that I've learnt in the last year. I'm going to quote Rik Mayall. Love is the answer. I think that keeps hitting itself home in the last kind of year or so. Love is the answer.
And how is things for the film One by One? I mean, did you had how's things going with that, the distribution? Because I know that we had you booked in earlier on in the year, but we cancelled because we wouldn't be able to talk about One by One. So. What's happening on that front?
We could have talked about One by One, but it was pointless kind of us speaking earlier on in the year, because I wouldn't have been able to have said the things that I could say today. Like, obviously, there have been lots of people trying to get hold of a copy of the DVD. Since New Year's, it's been quite difficult for people. And then various things have kind of gone in the background. And we're really, firstly, I want to thank anyone that's been patient and has been bearing with us on trying to order a copy. Believe me, it is more frustrating for us than it is for you. Although you want it, it's our daily lives trying to get this all sorted. But so what's basically happened is the contract with our distributor is coming to an end on the 16th of May. And Ash and I decided after a long, hard think that we wanted to take the helm again, that we wanted to kind of be the driving force behind that. So as of the 17th of May, One by One is back in our hands. And kind of in the background, we're working on hopefully having a seamless transition, and then not long after the 17th, One by One will be available again to buy. I can't confirm which outlet it will be available. It will be DVD. It will not be an online platform, because obviously we did an online platform before, and we had a few problems with people copying the film and putting it online for free, which I get that. I get why people would want to give the film away. But what people don't see is that we're still trying to pay for this. Yeah. And I mean, I'm still trying to pay for this. And the fact that all the cast and crew work for nothing. And until I've paid back the money from sales and from my own pocket as well, paying back the money that was graciously lent to us to do this, those cast and crew don't get anything until that's been done. So, although I get that people want to get out there and see it, I beg people not to do that. And if you do see any links, deter people from doing that and buy a DVD. I mean, a DVD is going to be a tenner. So, and it's not just buying a film, it's buying a truther film. I think it was one of the first of its kind that got finished, although it's now 7 years ago. This August we started filming it, which is mental.
Wow.
It's been a lifetime. I mean, yeah, it's actually a bit crazy. I don't know where the last 7 years have gone. So yeah, I would ask people to buy the DVD and know that it's not just supporting this film. It is Rik's last UK feature, and we want people to see it. But also at the same time, people will be supporting indie film, which, I mean, we all trying to break. I mean, people are trying to break away from using mainstream as much as possible, and I mean that's the same for us. People, the questions we get asked about one by one is, why is it not on Netflix? There's so much other stuff that goes on in the background, red tape as there is with everything, to get it into those sorts of things. So yeah.
I was listening to our interview earlier on. I was listening as a bit of a refresher while I was washing the pots earlier on, and I remember. I think you said the film did it cost you 25 grand to film to make? Yeah,
it cost 25 grand, and that's like how much money it cost. In hindsight, it probably cost a little bit more than that. But you know, that was money that I know for a fact that it cost. It cost 25 grand. I mean, there's been other money spent in since then trying to promote it and doing marketing and things like that. I mean, so I'm still trying to pay that back to people and friends that I made the decision that they would be investors rather than just gifting the money. So they have
so anybody, I mean, anybody that wants to watch this, anybody that's interested in Rik Mayall's work, and anybody that's wanting to support independent films and have more films made like this, you know, they can be an investor by buying the DVD when it comes out, and that's not you're not actually just buying the DVD. You're actually investing in independent films being made in the future that are the same.
Exactly. I mean, I know that we did a crowdfunding campaign. I think it was this time last year for pre-orders for the DVD, because the reason we did that was for people to pre-order a DVD so that we could get BBFC certification. Now, if you look at any DVD when it's got a rating on it, be that 15, 12, PG, whatever it is, that has to go through. And let me just stress that BBFC are a not-for-profit organisation, and they are the best people I've ever spoken to in this industry. They're the most helpful people. They charge a fee for looking at a film because somebody has to sit there and watch every single minute of it and go through and work out if it's got violence in it and all that kind of stuff. So when we did the crowdfunding campaign for pre-orders, we knew that we had to raise the money to at least cover that, and the producing of DVDs and the postage of DVDs and everything else. And we hit our target, and then kind of things started to cost a bit more money that we hadn't quite created and things like that. So when we finished doing the crowdfunding campaign and we closed it off and did the DVD sales, we actually just broke even.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, we've not made any money. Still haven't made any money. But it's not about making money. It's about paying people back. I can't stress that enough. So, I mean, yeah, like you said, anytime someone buys a DVD, a one-by-one DVD, they're not just buying a film, not just buying Rik Mayall's last film, they're also investing in independent film. And although a tenner is a lot of money, and I get it's a lot of money, the cost of producing them, the cost of it costs money to sell them. So it's not, I would say maybe 50 to 60% of that comes to us, if that. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy hard industry. But, yeah.
So, what?
They're investing in truth too. Do you know what I mean? There have been other films that have kind of teetered on the edge of what One by One talks about, but like so many people that have had their eyes opened to what's happening in the world or are teetering on the edge of it, this for me is a really gentle, well, it's not gentle, but an introduction to people. So for example, when I started discovering and I woke up, I very much wanted to get everyone on board with me, like my mum, my dad, or my family, and everyone like that. And I would spout all this information I'd found out, and I got, not by my family, but other people, I got called a communist, a crazy, all those sorts of things. And I know that I'm not the only person that has had that. And from people that I've spoken to, people that are fans of the film, and people that I've spoken to at events and stuff like that. So if you are awake to the environment and the things that are going on in the world, this is a really good way to introduce some of the theories and ideologies behind what's going on in the world. So I think that's what's good about it. I mean, if you are a truther, and we're not going to be telling you anything you don't already know, whereas if you've got people that you care about that you wish to kind of not ram it down their throat, but kind of go, just watch this, then that's kind of that's what the film's for. It was to help people wake up. So.
And it's the unique thing about the film. I mean, I've watched the film. I've watched it a few times. The unique thing about the film, I mean, you get all great truther films. You know, you get all these different films and documentaries that are made online, and all these great truther films. But the unique thing with One by One is it's got a face in it that people recognise.
Yeah,
it's got a face in it that people trust to make them laugh. You know, they've trusted him to make them laugh, and he has made them laugh. And now he's in this, and he's telling you this, and so you're trusting him again. So the more people that can see it, and the more people that are Rik Mayall fans who might look a little bit further in and just think to themselves, why did he do this? Why did he do this film? Yeah. You know, and so that's what I think is the unique selling point on One by One, which is probably why you're having so many obstacles put in your way trying to get it out there.
Well, I think that it was, I mean, Rik was a choice that I'd hoped for, but I didn't ever dream we'd get. Do you know what I mean? And that was the reason, is that he is the nation's funny man. Along with Aid and all those kind of ones, he was, for many of us, the first people that made us laugh. And to put him in a role that wasn't funny, that at time was quite poetic, would unsettle people naturally. And it's like, it is that thing, you trust him because you know him, but he's telling you things that you're not sure you're ready to hear. And that was part of the reason for casting him, or wanting him to be in it, was that kind of, as you said, that kind of thing. And I mean, had I known then that this would be his last UK film, I think I would have spent far more time with him. I mean, I spent a good deal of time with him, but I would have spent more time with him. He was amazing. So, yeah. So, in fact, it's odd today. I've been clearing out a couple of boxes, and I came across my old, it's got dust in it. That's how long it's been. Not my folder from when we filmed, with all my shot lists and all my notes. And I happened to turn the page, and there is, the front cover of my script that Rik signed for me, and which is very, in Rik's humour, says, it says, "Edit out all the other bastards. I'm your star. Love and violence, Rik." So, I mean, stumbling across those things. I mean, he was such an inquisitive person, and he wanted to know about not just the film. He wanted to know what motivated me to do it, because obviously it was the first time I'd written anything, first time I'd directed anything. Which I've since found out is nuts as a filmmaker. Like, most filmmakers do a couple of short films first and kind of find their feet. I didn't. I wrote this and I jumped straight in at the deep end. And he was kind of fascinated by that. And we spent a little bit of time together after filming and literally sat, drank tea and smoked for hours and talked. So, I mean, heartbroken. I wept for about 5 or 6 hours after I got the news that he died, because I didn't just feel like I'd lost a colleague, I felt like I'd lost a friend. So, I mean, yeah, had we known it was going to be his last film, I mean, yeah, mental, really.
Well, it's obvious that he's had quite an effect on you, because you're just talking about him now, and I can see you becoming emotional about, you know, about what's going off, about what happened, and obviously his untimely death. And I was as shocked as anybody. I'm a huge Rik Mayall fan. I love everything from Drop Dead Fred to The New Statesman's my favourite. But I didn't quite get bottom though, because I
Oh,
just don't know. I never got it.
That's my favourite. I think the first kind of experience, Rik and Aid experience I ever had was watching Bottom. I mean, I didn't really watch Young Ones because I'm a bit younger. But I remember Bottom coming out, and I remember Bottom Live, and my stepdad had it on DVD, and he probably doesn't know that I did this, but when he was at work, I'd come home from school and watch it, and I could quote every single line from Bottom Live. And I loved it, and just sort of that humour, like that penis humour is so funny, and I mean, it's part of my humour, definitely. So, I mean, they weren't just funny people, they were educationally funny people. So, and yeah, I mean, I look at things with Rik now and I go, I worked with him. Oh my God, I worked with him. And I think everybody that was involved in the film feels this tremendous honour to have been working with him, because I mean, off the back of One by One, we were all fairly new to what we were doing. We were all a relatively new cast and crew. A couple of people had more experience than others. That lots of One by One has been a springboard for many of the crew to go on and do lots of film work. So, I mean, I'm a big believer that whenever you spend time with somebody, they leave an imprint on your soul, and it's what you do with that you carry on with you for the rest of your life. So you're not just you're a collection of every person you've ever met, and their impact on you. And that's an amazing thing to have. So.
Yeah. What about all the other cast and crew? Has anybody been in anything that perhaps anybody who's listening to Raconteurs News might have seen on the Idiot Box? Or perhaps in film or theatre?
Well, lots of them do theatre. I mean, Heather, who played Dion, who's the leading lady, Heather's still doing lots of theatre work. She is one of the funniest people you will ever meet. She had Rik in stitches on set. Like I think that's quite hard, trying to make a comedian laugh, and she had him in fits. So Heather's still doing theatre stuff, and if anyone's looking for a strong female lead in a film, get Heather in, because she can do anything. She's amazing. And then Trina has done a few things. I think she was the face of EasyJet for a bit, and something else I remember being stood, because I live in Ireland now, and I remember being here on the street and a bus went past and a picture of her was on it. I was like, what? This is mental. So I know that she's doing a lot of acting and things like that. And then the two boys, the two, John, which is played by Duncan, he spent a lot of time in New Zealand, and he's I don't think he's acting very much anymore. And Sean's still acting, and Steve had a baby when we were doing he didn't, because that'd be really impressive, but his partner had a baby when we were doing the premieres in Romford 2 years ago and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's the cast and the crew. I mean, Ash, my business partner, he's doing filmmaking full time. And I mean, it's just been an amazing springboard for so many people. If nothing else, it has given them the drive to want to pursue the hardest industry, dare I say it, in the world. I mean, it is the movie business, and it is hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what are you working on now, and what you got in pipeline? I noticed a couple of posts that you posted on Facebook. One particularly about female directors, filmmakers, and the BAFTAs, I think it was.
Yes. This was in the news a couple of weeks ago. Being a writer director, there are lots of schemes that are out and about. Like, you can apply for funding, and you can apply for many things. Now, bear in mind, it's like a needle in a haystack. For example, I submitted a film last September to a festival, and there were 14,000 other short films submitted. So there's a lot of people trying to go for the same things. There's a small pot. But with female directors, there is a huge lack of them being hired for professional jobs. So that's the first thing to consider. I think it's something ridiculous, like 13%. Don't quote me on that. I think that's it. But anyway, so BAFTA every year do what they call an Elevate project, where they take a underrepresented group be that female or people from with disabilities, and whatever kind of category they choose, and they ask people to apply, and then they select a certain number that they then take forward and help mentor and train. Now, bear in mind, I do this job. I've been doing it for a while now. I don't think I need much training. I'm always learning, don't get me wrong, but I mean, give me a script, I can do it. But anyway, that aside, so what happened was, as always, they send out an email, whoever it is, telling you whether you've been successful or unsuccessful. And in this occasion, they sent out an email, the person sent out an email saying that I was unsuccessful, but rather than blind copying it, all the other people in, they copied everybody in. So suddenly there was 225 women that were copied into an email telling them they were unsuccessful. And within 2 hours, a Facebook group was set up, and we were trending on Twitter at number 2, and things like that. And that was to encourage other female directors to bring themselves forward, people that can do the job. And I mean, some of these women are unbelievably talented. And
was it just women that were copied in, or were there any men?
No, because this year's the Elevate project for this year was for women.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
It's for women, so it's geared towards female directors. So so that's what happened. So, I mean, I've had many rejections in the last few years, as I'm sure other filmmakers have, and I'm a sensitive wee soul. Every time I get one, I end up having a bit of a ball and feeling down and questioning what I'm doing for a couple of days. But in this occasion, a negative was very quickly turned to a positive, and I mean, there's lots of interaction on this group, and all the women are talking to each other and putting jobs up that are available and things like that. And I think that's really important, because I don't think it's right that women are underrepresented in the industry. I don't think it's right that a higher percentage of men are doing the job that we're just as qualified for and getting paid more than we would for it. I mean, it's next year, it's 100 years since the vote was given to some women. I'd say some women. That it's mental that we are still trying to fight equality. So, yeah, there we go.
As we know, I mean, this inequality, it's there have been campaigns, and there's been movements, and there've been protests, but nothing ever happens. It always stays the same. I don't understand it.
I really don't. I mean,
and it's not just filmmaking; it's all walks of life as well, isn't it? I mean, a female will generally get paid less than a male. I don't understand it.
No, I don't either. I think it's something like 25% less. They get paid 25% less. I don't get it at all. I mean, it just seems like madness to me. I mean, if say you and I are equally qualified on paper, and we both go for the same job, and they choose me over you, and then they can choose to pay me 25% less. That's just an example. I'm not saying that's actually the truth, but I mean, that's kind of the parameters and the indication that goes on. Yeah.
What sort of impact are female directors having on the film industry, whether it's independent or whether it's mainstream films? What sort of impact are female directors having, and is it?
Well, I tell you what, name me 5 male directors.
I can't.
Okay, name me 3 male directors.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah.
Stanley.
Right, now name me 3, and you can't use me, 3 female directors.
Okay, I know Francis Ford Coppola's got one, hasn't he?
What's her name? Oh, you can't call her.
I don't. I really listen. I don't know. It's. I'm not really into films anyway. But
the question is why is that? Why is it easier for you to find 3 male names than it is to find female names? I mean, if there are any people that are into film listening right now, write it down. Write down 5 males. I guarantee that they'll do it within 2 or 3 minutes, and then try and write down 5 female directors, not including me. that have had features and been successful. I mean, how many I don't know the answer to this, but how many females have won Oscars for directing? I dare say it's 2 or 3. I think Catherine Bigelow won one, and I think Sophie Ford Coppola won the other one. Hang on.
Sophie Ford Coppola. Sophie Ford Coppola, that's her, yes.
Yeah.
I named one.
Right, helps. Do you know what I mean? So it's that sort of thing. Why is that the case? Why are we not getting the chance to do the job? And it's not because there isn't films that we can do, because I'm a writer-director. I mean, today I was looking through my box. I've got 3 films, feature films, that although they need development, they also need a budget, that I could film if someone came on board and went, okay, you've made one film, let's see what you've got. And in that time as well, since making one by one, because like I said, it was the first time I'd ever written or directed anything like that I watched it, and in hindsight I went, I could have done that better, I could have done that better, I could have done that better. So in the last 7 years or so, I have been learning and making my craft better. So, I mean, I won my first award last year as a writer-director, and it was an Audience Choice Award at a festival. And then that film was selected for Belfast Film Festival and was screened on the 1st of April. So, I mean, I can do my job. I know what I'm doing. It's just getting the opportunity to speak to people. And, I mean, oh, my goodness. Have you seen Suicide Squad?
No.
Right, don't. It's 2 hours, you'll never get back.
No.
That won an Oscar, and most people hate that film. And that was, I think the budget was, I don't want to guess, but I'm guessing it's up there in the 200 million mark.
Yeah.
And I get that people have to get paid and they give up their time and things like that. But think about what could be done, and think about remakes. There's remakes being made all the time of films. For example, I've just seen a ad go up for, I haven't watched it because it would break my heart, I think, a remake of Dirty Dancing, the remake of Ghostbusters, the remake of Point Break. These are just
Mary Poppins even.
Exactly, like live action, Disney doing live action, which I don't quite get, but I suppose that's up to them. They make loads of money, and they make Star Wars, so I'm not going to slag off Disney too much. Do you know what I mean?
I just want to get back to where when we were talking about male and female directors, and I'm only playing devil's advocate, so I don't want you to reach through the Skype screen and grab hold of my neck and rip my head off. But what would you say to somebody who said that there are more male directors than there are female directors, so the percentage-wise, it sort of works out?
If people don't like swearing, cover their ears now, because that's bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm in a group on Facebook.
I say, I was playing devil's advocate.
No, of course, I totally get that. I mean, I've just said to you, I'm in a group with people of 225 female directors, and that's only the 225 that applied for the job, applied for the Elevate course. There are an extra 15 that actually got selected, and I guess if you did a worldwide scan, there is probably equal amounts. There might be a slightly less females than males, but I don't think it's like 80% males and 20% females. I think it's far closer than that. I mean, maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe someone needs to do, I don't envy the person that would do it, do a study on how many female directors and how many male directors there are. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you just have to look at, I suppose they could look at the feature films that were made in 2016. I do believe that there was 15,000 feature films made in 2016. So look at the percentage there and use that as kind of, but then again, that's 15,000 films that got made, got distribution and got sold. I mean, there are films that are getting made all the time that aren't getting to that next stage, or if they do, they're getting lost in the fodder of other films. So no, I don't believe that there is a significant number difference, and if it is,
what would you say? What would your comment be on the state of Hollywood at the moment, the film industry? In general, not so much Hollywood, but the film industry in general. Because I think they've run out of ideas. They're having to remake everything, like you were just saying.
I think they are remaking things, and they're not really remaking them very well. But then at the same time, there are little gems coming out that are almost kind of being overlooked. I mean, I have seen more good TV and film in the last year than I have in the 2 years previous to that. I mean, I know they're a multi-million, probably billion corporation, but Netflix are doing a massive thing on investing in original drama. I mean, lots of people talk about Stranger Things, which is excellent. I've just finished watching Dirk Gently, Holistic Detective Agency. For me, that was one of the best things I have ever seen. And I mean ever. It's gone straight in at one of my favourite things ever. It's genius and I love it. So I think there is more good stuff coming out, but it's kind of being overshadowed by crap stuff, which
is the stuff they churn out on TV that you can get for free.
Well, I don't watch TV. I don't have telly at all because it's very easy to turn the telly on and sit and just watch whatever's there. Whereas with something like Netflix or Now TV or Amazon Prime, you have to think about what it is you're going to watch. And I mean, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube and tutorials on YouTube and things like that. So, and try and do lots of web seminars and things like that. But I mean, there's always going to be crap films. Always. There's always going to be bad films. Because, I mean, you just got to look at the musical the producers. That whole musical is based on two people trying to make a theatre flop to make money back on insurance. I'm not saying that's what Hollywood does, but every film that has kind of had a big budget. For example, let's look at Suicide Squad. I'm going to bring up the figures, so bear with me for a minute. Like every film that's made as a Hollywood blockbuster, let's look at it that way, they make more money than they cost to produce, if that makes sense. And it is a business. That's the way it is. That's the way it will always be. And then you get gems come in. I mean, I'm just finding the figures here. For example, Suicide Squad was made, I wasn't far off, on $175 million. It made $745 million. Like, it made $500+ million.
Yep.
It's big business.
And it's crap. Well, I've not seen it, but according to you, it is crap.
I think artistically, like the set design and the makeups are cool. I think the script was written in 6 weeks, and you can tell every bit of that. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, some people love Suicide Squad. Some people love Suicide Squad, and some people don't. And I mean, I'm in that kind of, I don't like it. But then it's subjective. Opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. So, like I said, I've just been sent. Female represents 17% of creative directors, writers, and producers in the industry.
17%.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just kind of what it is. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. But going back to what you said about Hollywood, it's just opinion. Some people will love things. I mean, even with me and my partner, we, for example, lots of people like Breaking Bad. I'm not a fan of it. That's not to say it's not good. It's just I'm not a fan of it. So, I mean, that's kind of, like I said, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one.
Yeah, we started watching Breaking Bad, and we got sort of like to series 2, halfway through series 2, and we lost interest in it. Really, it sort of tailed off. It began with a bang, and then I think what they were hoping on doing is getting people actually addicted to it, and then just dishing any old crap out. But yeah, I didn't like Breaking Bad. But do you think that's the future? Such as these live streaming Now TV, like you were saying, and Amazon Prime and Netflix, because the mainstream, if you put the TV on, even if you've got a subscription TV like Sky, everything's a repeat. There's nothing original. The only thing that Sky or anybody else puts out that's original is when they put live sport out, and I think that's just about the platform that's all that's left
Well, you've got to think about films. So, I mean, for example, I said to you, there was approximately 15,000 films made last year. So, I mean, if you said there's 15,000 films and you say that they are 120 minutes roughly each, that's 1,800,000 minutes worth of film. The reason things like that are repeated is because you can't physically watch every film or TV series that's ever been made. Mm-hmm. So they repeat things so that other people can see them. I guess that's why they do it. I mean, with things like Sky, I believe you can record. I don't have that either. I believe that you can record things. So, I mean, do I think it's going to go on to more? I think it is going more and more into streaming and stuff. I mean, Netflix, I saw an article this week about Netflix, and they said that their biggest competitor was sleep. Like the biggest competitor was sleep. If people didn't have to sleep, they'd be watching more and more of it. So it's which I thought was a really honest and good way of putting it out. And I mean, Netflix, you get lots of different things. I obviously watch Netflix because I've talked about it a lot. I don't want to name drop or be an advocate for it, but I mean, that's where I do my watching. So, yeah.
Yeah, we watch Netflix, and it's decent value for money, I would say, as well, because there's always new stuff on there, and you can try different things, and you can turn them off halfway through if you don't like them.
Do you know what I mean? If you don't, I mean, they're doing lots of series on there and stuff like that. And I mean, I've watched some excellent stuff on there. And if there is anyone from Netflix listening, kudos to you, because whoever's on your commissioning team is doing a great job on new series and stuff like that. I think that, again, is my opinion. I mean, we've watched loads and loads of stuff on it. And also what I like about Netflix, they do some really nice little independent or low budget films. Like, there's a film called Green Room, which was Anton Yelchin's last film. He was tragically killed last year. He was in Star Trek and things like that. And what did he originate in? Odd Thomas, I think the film was. And but Green Room is about a band that turns up to a gig for a bunch of neo-Nazis, and it goes, I won't tell you any more than that, but it's really good. It was really well done, and it's really interesting to watch it and things like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I really, really enjoy watching Netflix. So, yeah.
Well, so I want to go back to One by One. Now, you were saying, if I'm reading this right, you've not had control of the distribution of One by One.
Well, what happened was we signed a distribution deal in 2014. Gosh, I can't remember, 2017. And they have been distributing it and doing all that kind of stuff. And Ash and I, the contract's coming to an end. So Ash and I decided, rather than renewing or anything like that, that we would dedicate our time to doing that. Do you know what I mean? So that's the news, really, is that from the 17th of May, it's back in our hands, and we will be looking at that and kind of doing the personal touch on it as much as we possibly can. So, I mean, like I said, I'm still trying to make films and work at the same time, and Ash is doing the same sort of thing. So I hope that anyone that's kind of subscribed to our Facebook or anything like that feels that we're responding to them quick enough. I mean, we are responding as quick as we can. And I mean, I get emails at 3:00 in the morning from people wanting stuff and wanting to find out more. So I know that people might think we've been a bit slack. It's not that we've been slack. It's just that this is how it's been. And from the 17th of May, I'm not saying that it'll be available to buy on the 17th of May. What I'm saying is we will know where we're going to be, and we hope it won't be long after that it will be back up for sale. I mean, with it not being on sale, we're not recouping any of the money. And that's essentially what we're trying to get the message out there, and we're trying to get the film out there as well. And we have to recoup money. It's like spinning different plates and trying to make everybody happy. I like to make people happy. I'm a people pleaser. So trying to make everyone happy sometimes can be quite stressful and things like that. But I mean, yeah, it will be back on DVD.
I'm assuming then if you're taking control back, you had a bit of a problem with the previous distributor.
Yeah, it's just the contract's coming to an end. So I mean, Ash and I, we feel that we know our audience really well, and we think that we can do that, and we can be that personal touch that a film like One by One needs. So yeah, that's why really.
So you were happy with how they dealt with it and how they distributed it?
They did the job that they were meant to do. So yeah.
Okay, all right. I won't push you any further on that. So whereabouts are people going to be able to find it? I mean, you've got your website, One by One Movie. Is it .com or
movie.co.uk?
Oh, right.
And we've got our Facebook page and we've got Twitter. I mean, we are going to be putting an announcement out tomorrow on our Facebook page that anybody that wants to know as soon as it's available, rather than keep coming back to our page, they can send us an email with just the subject line, I want an OBO DVD. And they can send that to boilingfrogfilms@gmail.com, and I'll keep a list of everybody. Obviously, those emails won't go any further. I'll keep a list of anyone that's done that, and as soon as the link's available, I'll reply to them first and go, get this, you can get it here, you can get it here, you can get it here, and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what we want to do. I want to kind of go, email me with, I want an OBO DVD, and email it to boilingfrogfilms@gmail.com, and I will let them know straight away. And then it'll be back up on our Facebook page, it'll be up on our website. And I mean, it's at this point where I say, please, to anybody that when it is available, that watches it or orders it and likes it, to share the links with people. I mean, that is how this film's going to get out there. It's only going to get out to people if other people help share the message. The same way people want to talk about some of the themes and ideologies that the film talks about, talk about the film. And like we said, I mean, it's a great present or a great film to kind of shake and wake people up if you want. So, yeah.
So what, like I said earlier on, when I asked you the first question, I think it was, I asked you what you'd learned in the last year, and you sort of gave me a little bit of a vague answer. But I just wondered anything that would be similar to the subject matter of the film. Have you learned anything like that, or is there anything that's piqued your interest, or have you just remained pretty benign to it?
I think, like I said earlier, I'm quite a sensitive little creature, believe it or not. I'm quite strong and fiercely independent, but I'm also quite sensitive. And I remember when I first started researching and discovering and then making One by One was a tremendously draining experience, not just energy-wise, but on my soul, and actually made me quite depressed. And I actually was hospitalised not long after filming, not for long, but just kind of, I made myself quite unwell with it all. And when I moved here, I'm still very aware of everything that's going on, but I kind of made the decision that unless there is a mass movement, there is nothing I can do about it. I've done the best I can. Mm-hmm. I've made a film that I know has woken a few people up. I hope it wakes up more. But nothing, I believe, nothing will change unless there is a mass movement. And that is only going to happen if more and more people wake up to what goes on in the world and don't necessarily take what's going on, what people are being told as the truth. And I think that's where I am with it. I know there's stuff going on, and every now and again I dip into things and I read things. But for me, for my own sanity almost, I have to kind of, well, One by One takes so much that energy, just trying to get it out to people takes so much energy. And I suppose that's me trying to do my part as much as I can. So, that's why. But yeah, that's where I am with everything. I mean,
I think anybody would understand that as well, because it is quite draining when you first get into this sort of subject matter. It is quite draining on yourself, and it's no good. Like you say, you need to get this film out. This is your contribution to helping people to wake up to what is going on. That's your contribution, and your energy should be focused on that, and not really on. Like you say, it had an effect on your health, and so that's your contribution. You get that out, and that's all you really need to do. And
yeah,
we've all got a role to play, and we've all got a very small part to play. And if we all play our small part together, then the bigger picture will become clearer.
I think about how a machine works. I mean, even think of a car, how a car works and every part of it. Now, I'm not a mechanic, so I might get some of this wrong. But I mean, it all has to work to make the car move. I mean, you wouldn't try and drive a car without petrol or diesel in it. It just wouldn't work. And you need a gearbox, and you need pedals, and you need the spark plugs and the pistons and the coolant tank and everything for it to work and for it to move. And that's what it's like. You have to kind of, everyone has to work together to make the movement of this and the movement of the car go. And that's kind of what it means to be.
We've got a question, actually. It's from Tony, who's producing for us tonight. Thank you very much, Tony. The question is, does Diane think the content of One by One could be affecting her chances of gaining support for her in the industry?
No. I thought maybe a couple of years ago I thought that, but then seeing how many other people are trying to do the same job as me, no, I really don't. If anything, I think it's helping me, because people will see the fact that I've already made a feature, and that gives me opportunities in itself. So, I mean, no, I really don't. That's a short answer, wasn't it? The shortest I've given you all night.
Yeah, well, anyway, let's just say you're listening to Raconteurs News. It's me, Jason Holmes. No Andy Young tonight. He's having a little bit of a rest. We've got after the show tonight at 10 o'clock, we've got the happy hour with not Dr. Tamara and Luby as well. They're going to be doing their happy hour. Big thanks to Adi last night. If you didn't listen to Adi last night, get a listen on the podcast on Raconteurs 2. He had Rob Halford on. They were a little bit sweary, but you know, we're all grown-ups, aren't we? So. Yeah, well, I think we've just about got to the end of the first hour, Diane. So I think what we'll do is we'll take a tune, and then when we come back after the break, the record break, I want to talk to you about these film festivals that you're up for and you're in. Okay. I think one's called Sleeping Giants Film Festival.
Yeah,
is that right?
Right.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that right after the break, but we're going to have a tune now, and we'll see you in about 5 minutes. Good evening and welcome back to Raconteurs News. Great tune, one of my favourite tunes, that from Eminem, Square Dance. One of my bestest ones, shall we say. What do you reckon, Diane? Are you an Eminem fan?
I am, and yeah, I am. Do you know what I mean? I mean, his first album was, I've got an utmost respect for him. He's so lyrically clever. But his first album, I listened to death, and then rap isn't my kind of music. But yeah, I've got a lot of respect for him. I mean, he's just amazing how he crafts lyrics. It's amazing.
Well, there you go. The voice you're listening to there, that's Diane Jesse Miller. She's my guest this evening here on Raconteurs News. No Andy tonight. He's having a little bit of a rest. He's resting his feathery hat upon Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you, Diane, did you get a mannequin sorted out? You were after a female mannequin today, weren't you?
I did. Which I know, if you look over my Facebook feed over the last couple of weeks, I've put some really random requests. But that's because I look for things that I might need for projects and stuff like that. But I've got this idea for I've got into, for like relaxation and to be creative, I've started making masks, and I've got this idea for a corset top that I want to make around a mannequin. So I put out a plea for a mannequin, and you asked the universe, and the universe delivered, or in this case, my next door neighbour delivered. So I went, here you go. I was like, oh, excellent.
So you didn't need the universe, just needed to go next door.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Facebook's really good for things like that. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously you have your own profile and friends and stuff like that, and you just never know what people have got lying around. Like, I remember once putting up a couple of years ago, going, I need an old hospital gown, and I got one. And I mean, yeah, it's just bizarre the things that people ask for, and you can get, especially for filmmaking and stuff like that. So yeah.
So it was definitely a mannequin and not a blow-up doll.
No, definitely a mannequin. Although I spent time with Rik Mayall, I don't need any more blow-up dolls in my life.
Oh, brilliant. Right, okay. Well, anyway, well, like I say, welcome back to Raconteurs News. Diane Jesse Miller is my guest tonight. I'm Jason Holmes, no Andy Young. I said that again. I keep saying it. I don't know why I keep saying it. I think I'm just trying to rub it in. I feel like I've been left. You know what I mean? It's like, I've been deserted. I'm just missing him a little bit, that's all. But we've got you, Diane. So I wanted to bring up tonight, for this hour, I wanted you to talk about the Sleeping Giants Film Festival, which I understand you're a co-organiser of.
Yeah, where I live is Narnia. I know that sounds silly, but C.S. Lewis, when he wrote The Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe and all those books, were based around the Mourne Mountains, which is I'm kind of nestled between the Mourne Mountains and the Cooley Mountains in Ireland. And where we are is quite rural, so there's not much going on. There is things going on in the way of film, but we really wanted to bring independent film to the little town where we are, and it was kind of a couple of people that were talking about it, and that's what we've kind of done. And I've been very lucky. I've got there's a venue called the Lock and Key Complex, which is a bar, restaurant and hotel, and they've come on board and doing it in association with us. I say with us, I set up my own company called the Little Green Door last year, which is kind of my creative projects and things like that. And so me and my partner doing that, and then the Lock and Key coming on board, and then a few other local people that are into film, which is like Mark Nugent Films and Narrow Water Studios. And so there's 6 of us that have kind of got together. Is it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5. Hang on, I can't count. No, 6 of us, definitely. Sorry. 6 of us come together and have secured a festival for the 30th of June, 1st and 2nd of July. So it's over 3 days, and people have been submitting short films to that for a minimal fee, kind of just to cover admin and then to help with kind of printing costs for programs. I mean, we're all doing it just for the love of it. We're not doing it for a business venture or anything like that. So, we are going to be, so the whole idea is that the festival is split over couple of days. So we have a film on a Friday, which we have secured. Oh, one of the most beautiful films ever. I Am Belfast.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a picture. I'm just looking at a picture of that I Am Belfast. Oh, yeah, you posted that on your Facebook page, didn't you?
Yeah, it's. I mean, for me, I love it. It's described as a city symphony. It's a documentary, but it's not a documentary. It's his own genre in its own self. And Mark Cousins, who's wonderful, he has said yes, we can use it, and we've secured the license with the British Film Institute and everything like that. And the music was done by David Holmes, who did the music for the Ocean films and stuff like that. But it's a real beautiful film. So the whole idea is that on Friday we've got 2 competitions that people can submit to for short films, and it's homegrown shorts. So that's any film that has been made on the island of Ireland. And then we've got an international, so it's 2 categories, so homegrown talent and international short films. So on the Friday we will show I Am Belfast, and then we will show the selected films for either the homegrown talent or the international shorts. And then on Saturday evening, we'll show another film. One, we haven't secured one for that yet. And then the other selection of films. And then there's other stuff going to go on during the day and things like that. And then and what we are doing was we're not having a judge. We're not having judging panels. Like when you go to festivals, you normally have a judging panel. What we are going to do is do an audience vote. So the audience will come in, they'll get a slip and they can vote. They have to stay and watch all of them, and they get all the selected ones for either competition. They vote for their favourite, and then the winner goes into Sunday's final, where we will announce their winners and maybe show something else. And then there's going to be a big party with live music and such like. So, yeah, that's it in a kettle of fish.
And it really is. I mean, that those sort of festivals, the small festivals, the ones that I mean, you're only just starting. I'm assuming this is the first one.
Yes, this is the one, yeah.
These small festivals are the lifeblood of the film industry at the very, the low end. So how important do you think that they are? And because people like you are doing it, you and your co-organisers are doing it for the love of it. It really shows that that's where the real value in filmmaking is, and not at this where they make Suicide Squad for 200 million, 175 million quid, and it makes 700 and odd million quid, and that's really all it is. It's just a cash cow. Whereas it's heart and soul stuff, isn't it?
Well, I think that in this day and age, technology is so advanced, and anybody can make a film. Anybody can. You can literally pick up your phone if you've got a smartphone with a camera on it, and you can make a film. And there are so many people trying to do it from all across the world. And I think that as a filmmaker, you submit to festivals because you want audiences to see it. Some people do it because they want to win awards, the hope, I suppose, when you, not so necessarily the smaller festivals like ours, but some of the bigger ones like Sundance, Tribeca, Cannes, Berlin, Glasgow, Raindance, when you submit to those sorts of film festivals, people are hoping that, especially with feature films, not short films, I guess, that they are hoping that someone will see their film, want to distribute it, and then it will get sold. That's kind of that. And then you've got short films. I mean, short films get nominated for BAFTAs and Oscars. And I mean, you've got short festivals that qualify for those. Like Cork Festival is a qualifying Oscar and BAFTA festival. So people can submit their shorts, and if they win, they go to, you would hope that the ones that get selected and get shortlisted for an Oscar or BAFTA, they would get asked, what else have you got? Can we fund your next film? And all those sorts of things. So some people it's to further their career, which I totally understand. And then there's smaller festivals like ours, and niche festivals as well, like horror festivals and stuff like that, that you can get your film in front of an audience if it's selected. I mean, we had a film that was recently selected for Belfast Film Festival called Emergency Stop. It was a short horror film that I wrote and directed. And in Belfast Film Festival, I don't know how many people they had submit, but they screened 29 short films in the narrative short competition. And that was amazing to be there and to watch films that other people have made that you wouldn't necessarily always see, because there are platforms online like YouTube. There's also Vimeo, which is kind of also for filmmakers, that there is so many films being made that to try and watch them all is really tough. So I suppose what people are relying on when they go to a film festival for films being selected is that whoever selected them, obviously, again, that's opinion. They've selected them because they see merit in them and they think an audience will like them. And then you obviously sit and watch films and you see things you haven't seen before. And that's kind of what we're hoping with Sleeping Giants Film Festival, is that because the nearest cinema is 6 miles away, which doesn't sound that far. But there's also a community cinema, Newcastle Community Cinema, which is Newcastle in Northern Ireland, not Newcastle over there. They do community screenings of films and have a little community cinema. And then you've got Newry, which is the nearest major town, has a Newry Film Club. But there's nothing here. And because it's free, that's everything. It's going to be free for people to come and watch films. That we're hoping that people in the local community will come out and watch films that they don't necessarily have access to. And that's kind of what we want. I mean, personally, I don't make films. I make films because I want people to see them.
Yeah.
And, anyone that creates art, I imagine they do it because they want to create something, and if they're prepared to share it to the world, that's what they're doing. I mean, every time you make something, you're bearing your soul. I mean, I just wrote a horror film. It's quite a dark horror film as well. So bearing my soul is maybe showing a little dark side to me, but that kind of thing. You bear things that you experience. You have to, when you make a film, you put yourself into it in whatever way. It's either you base it on something you've been on. And I mean, that's not to say that films like Alien and stuff like that, people know what that's like, being in space, being chased by an alien, but you can imagine it if you're chased by anything. I mean, Steven Spielberg, for example, made Jaws because he was terrified of sharks and being eaten by a shark. So it's those sort of things. You make films that speak to you, that you can connect with as a writer, and you make it because it is part of you being poured onto the page or being poured onto the screen, and it comes from kind of creativity, and ideas are amazing. I wish if you could bottle up how they were made, you'd make a fortune. But yeah, it's bearing your soul. So I think getting films to a local audience, I mean, we've got films coming from all over the world that have submitted to our festival, from America, obviously from England, from Australia, from Iran, and stuff like that. So I don't think other people in this area would get a chance to see those films unless we have an avenue for them to see it.
So, I mean, for a fledgling festival like yourselves, you're not short of people submitting films?
Well, I mean, Sundance last year had just under 14,000. We haven't got that many. We haven't got that many. I mean, when you do something like this, whenever you do anything for the first time, you are always nervous. What if people don't submit? What if people don't come? And all those sorts of things. You don't know unless you try. And yeah, we've got enough short films to run. So, I mean, we've got lots. Not as many as Sundance, but we've got quite a few. And
well, as long as you've got enough to fill up your schedule, that's all that you really need.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we've got more than that. We've got more than would fill our schedule. So I mean, we then have the hard task of selecting the ones that are screened. And I mean, it's quite a weird process. We haven't done it yet because it doesn't finish for submissions until the 12th of May. But as a group, we will sit down and watch all of them, and there's about 5 hours worth, if not more, to sit and go through and then choose the ones that we like. And we all like different types of films, which is what I like about us, is that we don't all have the same taste. I mean, there are things that we, like me and someone else really like, but someone else doesn't, and things like that. So I think that's going to be quite interesting, and it will be done. We'll select them, and it's not going to be, we're not going to divvy out 5 to one person and 5 to another and say pick your favourite. We're going to sit and watch them together and make like the audience would vote on the day. We'll all take a vote on the films that we like and select them that way. So yeah.
And of course, after this is all over, after you've completed this festival, you'll be in the unique position of being in the position of somebody who's submitting films to festivals and somebody who's been judging on films and selecting films for festivals as well. So do you think that will help you, perhaps it might help you improve on your filmmaking, because you'll know what people are looking for in what you've been doing?
I think whenever you watch any film, whether that be the films that we're going to be watching that have been submitted or any kind of film, as a filmmaker, that's why, for example, I stayed in bed this morning because I had a bit of a headache and I watched a film, but I don't feel like I cheated and didn't do any work. I watched a film and I learnt from that film. And I think every time we watch anything as a filmmaker, you learn something from it. So I feel that about these films. But yeah, you're right. I mean, one thing that we made clear as a group, that we cannot submit any of our own films, because obviously that's a conflict of interest.
Of course.
So we're obviously not doing that. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to sitting and watching all the films and kind of looking at what's out there. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a film from Iran, and I'm looking forward to sitting and watching that and those. And I mean, yeah, it's interesting to see. I mean, you said earlier there's no original stories anymore. There might not be any more original stories, but there are always new ways of telling it. I mean, for example, if we were to take a story and we were to read it, we would both remember different things about it. So if we were told a story or given a story to read and then we had to recount that story, we would say different things about that story, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So having a story, having an original idea may not be about, but there are always new ways of telling it, I think.
Yeah. I think the point I was making really is that these days, most of the films that you get shoved down your throat, shall we say, there's no original ideas anymore. They're just remaking old things, and they know for a fact that when they make Mary Poppins, it doesn't matter how bad it is, because it's the name Mary Poppins, it's going to make money. And so where's the incentive's gone then, hasn't it? Whereas when you're sort of looking at people who are lesser well known, then there's more effort put in, and the writing's better, the directing's usually better, and the story's usually better.
Well, I mean, that's opinion. I mean, we might watch the same thing and you might like it, I might not, kind of thing. But it is business. Is there to make money. That's supply and demand. That is the nature of every business and every money-making business. And with filmmaking, there is a film business. There's also people that make it for the love of it. I mean, lots of people use the word amateur in a negative way, but amateur means for the love of it. And there are many, many filmmakers that make films for the love of it. And I think that if people have an interest in film, if they sit at home and say, I love films, go to a film festival. There are film festivals everywhere. Go and watch some real indie film that is being made on no money, that is being made with sheer blood, sweat and tears, and go and see what else is out there. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of, people make it because they want to tell a story, and it's about how many people see it and how many people take something from it. Because I mean, for me as a filmmaker, I want my audience to feel something. When I create it, I either want them to feel something. That could be, I want them to feel anger when they watch One by One because they think I'm spouting nonsense, or they want to feel connected. Yes, I'm not the only one that feels like this. Or if I'm making a horror film, I want to scare them. I want to freak them out. If I'm telling a love story, I want to make them feel love, or I want to make them feel hurt. It's empathy. When you create something like that, you want the audience to feel something. That's why you do it. And it's the same way when you listen to music. If you listen to music and you feel a certain way, your hair stand up on end, or it makes you cry, or it makes you happy, that's why it's created. It was created to make you feel that way. And I mean, if people are watching films and it's the same stuff they feel it's the same stuff being churned out and out and out, go and see an indie film festival. Google online indie films. I should say search rather than Google. Search online for indie films. You'll find thousands of them. Go onto Vimeo and search. Well, you don't even need to search. Go onto Vimeo, and I mean, YouTube is a great platform for anyone that wants to put videos out. To me, Vimeo is the filmmaker's platform. So you'll see more narrative stories on there, whereas YouTube, you'll see lots of tutorials. So if you're interested in film or you like stories, go onto Vimeo and go and watch some of the films that are being made all the time.
It's funny that we just had Tony, our producer tonight, he's just posted in the chat room that he watched Vaxxed on Vimeo.
Oh, I've not seen that one.
You've not seen Vaxxed?
Send us a link.
Well, if Tony's got one, I'm sure he'll send it. But like you say, the small people, the making the independent films on a shoestring budget, they are the good films. It's such as Vaxxed. I mean, I've seen. I think I've seen Vaxxed. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. But there's Vaxxed, and then there's Traffic as well, and things like that. Have you seen Traffic about social services? No,
I haven't. I've heard of it. I've not seen it. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, again, it's another independent film that's obviously been made on a shoestring budget. But these are the ones that are having the big impact.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean,
most tellies, dare I say, or have a way to connect to the internet. I mean, I have I don't want to name drop, but I have a PlayStation plugged into our telly. So I have all those apps kind of on there. So I can search for things and sit and watch them on my telly, or I watch them on my laptop and things like that. So, I mean, nowadays, everything is accessible. Everything is accessible, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But it's a good thing if you think about art. It means things are more accessible. I mean, yeah, go onto Vimeo, look at the films that are on there, type in a word of something you like, be that, I don't know, cats. It's the first thing I've thought of, because there aren't enough cat videos going on in the world as it is. Like, search on something that you love and you'll find something that will come along and sit and watch it. You might watch 5 minutes and go, no, it's not for me, turn it off. But go and have a look at what's being created. There is so much being done out there, so much. I mean, like I talk about our film being in Belfast Film Festival. I watched the documentary section as well. And there was this beautiful documentary about a man that takes a photographer. I can't remember his name now. He's a photographer, but he was doing a piece about homeless people and taking photographs of, obviously getting permissions and stuff like that from the people to take. And he met this man on the street who fed the birds every morning, and then he'd go and spend 5 or 6 hours in the library just reading, and then he'd go and sleep under his bridge. And this photographer befriended him and invited him for Christmas dinner to his home, and the man said, no thank you, I'm all right under my bridge. So he took Christmas dinner to him. And this guy that lived on the street, like, when we think of people that are homeless, and I don't believe anyone should be homeless unless they choose to be, which is what this guy was. He chose to be living on the street. He didn't need anything. He got up, he fed the pigeons, he knew where to go when he was hungry. He went and read for 5 or 6 hours a day, and then he went and slept under the bridge. And that's the life that he chose. And that was such an inspirational story, because when we think of homeless people, we think of people that don't want to be there and are forced into that situation. And like I said, I don't believe that should happen. There are so many empty houses around that I just don't understand. I don't get that in my head. That seeing a story from another side can move you in a way that you wouldn't expect. And yeah, I'm waffling.
So let's just wrap up on this the Sleeping Giants Film Festival. I just want you to give a big plug, and then we'll put a line under that, and we'll move on to what you've been doing for the last year, the films that you've been making. So I've just got it in front of me, and it says that tickets, it's going to be free, but but people are going to have to get tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because it's down so many. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, the venue only holds 45 people because we've had to start small. So tickets will be available online in the next kind of couple of, when I pull my finger out my arse, basically. So tickets will be available, and people will need to book a ticket, but it will be free to come and see it, because like we said, for the first, and I can't guarantee they'll be free next year. So for the first year, it's just to get people interested and come along and stuff like that. So so our Facebook page, I mean, if you search at SG Film Fest, it will come up on all social media platforms and stuff like that. And I mean, now you're going to ask me for the Facebook link. I think it's facebook.com/SG Film Fest. Or just search Sleeping Giants Film Festival. We're the only Sleeping Giants Film Festival, and you'll see a picture of some beautiful mountains and a quote from Narnia. And just check out our page, and if you happen to be in this beautiful, beautiful place around that time, book a ticket and come see a film. There are worse ways to spend a Friday, Saturday or Sunday.
Much worse. I've been doing it for all season in football. Saturday afternoon, spending a terrible way watching rubbish.
football. Don't watch football. Come and watch films instead.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, anyway, you're listening to Raconteurs News. It is Tuesday, the 25th of April. And my guest tonight is Diane Jesse Miller. So let's move on, Diane. What you've been doing for the last year?
For the last year, I've been up mountains, in woods, and making films. My partner wrote and directed a film called An Irish Story. We started that we did the auditions last February, and then we started filming last April. And it took us, like most short films that are made, to give it some context, are usually filmed in a couple of days on weekends, normally over 1 or 2 weekends. We did 2 weekends a month for 6 months. And it is a 32-minute film. It's a 9th century Irish myth. So it's got kind of sword fighting and it's just like a thriller fantasy film. And it's the dialogue or the speech is in Old Norse, Irish and English. So it's a real kind of interesting film. So, I mean, that's on Vimeo and that's free on Vimeo. So anyone can go and search for An Irish Story on there, and watch it. I mean, it's a little bit violent, but if you're okay with that, I mean, we've put on there warnings for people that it's for a mature audience. Don't sit your 12-year-old down in front of it. But it's a 9th century myth. And that was a really interesting and challenging at the same time. Like I said, we were filming up mountains and we were filming in the woods. And I mean, I live in Ireland and it's beautiful green here, but it is 40 shades of green because it rains a lot. So trying to make a film that is based outside, up mountains and in woods was quite a challenge. And I mean, also with short films, you tend to have 2 to about 6 cast and a handful of people working on the crew. And we had 12 cast and 13 crew involved in this project, which was huge. And they all, again, because it's art, people give their time. And I mean, we fed and watered them and covered their travel expenses and things like that. But they came and gave their time for something that they thought was going to be a bit special. And I think it really is. It's something that I'm immensely proud of doing. And, I just check it out. I mean, go and have a look on Vimeo or again, we're on Facebook. It's An Irish Story and see that. It's a real, I don't think there's anything quite like it out there. So like we were talking earlier about something new and different. This is definitely new and different. So, have a little check out of that. So that was we did that for, we finished filming in, I think it was July last year. And then we spent August editing and stuff like that. And then we were submitting it to festivals and like I said earlier, lots of people submit to festivals and then aren't successful. And unfortunately that was the case with An Irish Story. And you can keep submitting to festivals, but submitting to festivals costs money. So, we decided we were just going to put it online because we want people to see it. So that's what we did. We did that on the 2nd of, what month are we in now? 2nd of April. And I'll find a link for you and send it on to you. And then, so we did that and that took us up to September. But in the background, I wrote a short film, which I've mentioned already, called Emergency Stop, which was my first kind of attempt at writing horror. So I did that and I submitted it to, some festivals do a 48-hour film challenge, which is where they give you 48 hours to make your film. And then you have to submit it by midday on the Sunday so that they can screen it for festival. So I submitted a script to a festival called Clonus Film Festival, which is in County Monaghan in Ireland. And the script was one of 5 that got selected. So we turned up on the Friday. They gave us a small amount of money, which was great. It meant we could pay our actors and our crew and stuff like that a little bit just for their time. We filmed it on the Friday. We edited on the Saturday. We submitted it on the Sunday. It was then screened to an audience on Sunday night. Cronus Film Festival. I don't know if you've ever heard of the film The Butcher Boy.
No.
It's like a 70s, 80s film, but that's where that was filmed. So it's got a bit of a film history to it anyway. Cronus has. So the film was submitted, it was screened to an audience, and the judges voted for the film that they liked the most. And I can't remember the name of the film that won now. But anyway, they also do an audience vote, and we won an audience vote. So it was our first award. So Emergency Stop was our first award-winning film, and my first award as a writer and director, which was really lovely. And then we're just submitting that to festivals, and like I said, that's screened at Belfast. And then we're kind of writing. I've spent kind of October into now writing, because writing is a tremendously lonely and long process. For anyone that is thinking about taking it up, it's hard, and it does take time. It sucks energy out of you. It's quite hard when you write something, because you have to rest your creative brain and things like that. So I've been writing for the last couple of months and stuff like that. I've got a feature film that is ready to go if anybody out there wants to come and fund it. And I've started writing another feature film as well. As well as that, I'm writing short films, because I think after putting an Irish story online, I kind of was like, I want to make more films and just put them online and let people see them and stuff like that. So I'm in the process of filming one at the moment. I filmed on Sunday, and then I'm filming next Tuesday. And that film's called Home, and it's a short film. It'll be filmed and it'll be done, and it'll be put online kind of by the beginning of June. So, I mean, for anyone that's interested in what we're doing, I mean, I've talked about my little company, The Little Green Door. If you search on The Little Green D on social media, you'll find us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. And lots of the things that we've got available to view are there, so people can watch them and things like that. So that's kind of been the last year. Oh God, I feel like I've talked for loads now. So yeah, that's kind of been the last year. And if you're not kind of making films, you're writing.
Can I ask you a question? Do you ever sleep? Because you just seem to be this absolute ball of energy that's just bouncing around wherever you are, and there seems to be just so much so much in your head that you need to sort of get out, and it does come boom, 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 thick and fast. Do you ever sleep, or are you just energy constantly?
I do try to. I believe it or not, I try to sleep about 8 hours a night because I need to. It's like you said, I'm constantly go, and I mean, I'm constantly go for 16 hours a day. So when I go to sleep, I have to sleep. But it's the nature of the beast. I think I've been doing it for such a long time, trying to balance working and because I have to work as well to keep a roof above my head. And
I was just going to ask you about that. I mean, when we spoke to you last year, you were I don't know, I can't remember exactly what you were doing, but you were having to work as well. Is that's still the case? Is it?
Yeah, it's still the case. I'm still teaching. I'm a qualified teacher as well, but I decided to leave before I moved here, to leave formal education and go freelance. So I'm still freelance teaching film and drama here, which is lovely. So I kind of do that which is great because it means that everything I'm doing is creative. That I'm very lucky to be in a situation where everything that I'm doing has a creative outlet to it. So I go and teach, and the youngest I teach is 3, and then currently the oldest I teach is 16. So it's a real kind of diversity with all that kind of stuff. So so I teach, and then I write, and I make films, and I don't sleep ever. But no, I do. I mean, you have to really. But life is.
Well, Andy, who's obviously not with us tonight, but he's in the chat room. He's listening, and he's put a comment in the chat room saying, "How many clones does Diane have to get all that done?" So he thinks that he's
controversial as that is, if I could find a clone that does the cooking and the cleaning in the house, because I do that as well, and all the washing like every other person, I suppose, in the world, that would be wonderful. But yeah, I mean, if I could split myself in two, the things I would get done would be unbelievable. So I work, I write, I direct, I try and promote one by one, which is why when I was talking about earlier that if I don't get back to you in 5 minutes, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just because I'm literally not near a device or seeing a message. Because obviously one by one has been my life for the last, I started writing one by one in 2009. So maybe it's 2008, actually. Late 2008, early 2009. So, it's been part of my life for nearly a decade. So It's not that I'm ignoring people. It's just that I'm physically not there to answer their questions right there and then. But yeah, no, there's no claims of me. You couldn't claim this.
So what people will be asking now is, you're a film director. Why does your PA not get back in touch with people on your behalf?
Oh my God, if I could afford a PA, oh my goodness, that would be amazing. That's kind of what you work towards, isn't it? Not to have a PA. I mean, everyone would love a PA, I guess. But to be able to have a group of people around you that you're making film together and that nothing's left a couple of hours or a couple of days before being applied to. I mean, I get messages, like I said earlier, all the time. It's really hard to take time off. I've actually got to the point where I find it hard to take time off. So I turn my phone off for a couple of days. I mean, over Easter holiday, I spent 4 days just laying in bed watching films, which was awesome. And sometimes I have to do that. Sometimes I have to recoup and just chill out a bit and things like that. But yeah, it's not that I don't want to get back in touch with people, and having a PA would be amazing, but unfortunately can't afford one.
Well, I wonder, so we've got about 20 minutes left. So probably about 15 minutes left with the record that we're going to play at the end. So I wanted to finish on two notes. First of all, I'd like to ask you a realistic question. What would you realistically like to happen to Diane Jesse Miller in the next year before we speak again? And then I'd like you to end, perhaps if you could, perhaps just give us a couple more Rik Mayall stories at the end as well. Just
in the next year, I'd like one by one to be self-managing itself, in the sense that it's getting out to the masses, and Ash and I are doing it proud, and that people aren't having to wait 4 or 5 months for a copy like they have had to at the moment. So that would be something in the year. To get recognition for a feature script I've written, and maybe get that into a situation where it starts to get produced, even if I don't make it myself. If someone else decides that they want to buy it and make it, then great. The ideal scenario would be that someone sees a film I've written, which is in hands at the moment, and says, "Oh, we have to make this film, and we want Diane to direct it." That would be what I'd really like. So that's what I'd like in the next year. And some sleep would be lovely too.
Yeah, we'd all like some sleep.
We'd all like some sleep, yeah. And just kind of just to be happy and healthy. I mean, you talked earlier about approaching a new birthday. I'm suddenly 37, and I don't know where the last 10 years have gone, and suddenly I'm here, and I figured out that you spend your 20s, you spend your teens going through puberty and trying to work out what you want in the way of who you want. You spend your 20s kind of, for want of a better term, fucking around. You spend your 30s going, I don't care, I know everything. And then you suddenly go, I've got everything sussed. And then your body starts to ache in places it hasn't before. So I suppose being happy and healthy is like so important to me. It's, as Rik said, love is the answer. You have to smile. You have to smile, and you have to be happy. And because, well, for example, you use less facial muscles when you smile than when you frown. So if you want to stay young, smile more, frown less. And just, it's about how you feel inside. If we have a finite existence, and if you're not happy with what you've got, change it. You've got the power to do that. No one can change it for you. It's no one else's responsibility. It's yours. We are stardust collecting other stardust. Make it count, I guess. That's some words of wisdom. Gosh, I'm rambling so much now. Rik stories. Okay, let me think about some Rik stories. Gosh, there are so many. I mean, if anybody, I'm just going to think of ones off the top of my head, really. But I mean, if anybody wants Rik stories, not long after, like a couple of days after Rik died, there's a 1-by-1 page and there's also a 1-by-1 group as well. And on that group, people started sharing Rik stories, which was really lovely. And that was cast and crew, and also fans of the film and fans of Rik were sharing stories of him. And I mean,
yeah, I shared my own one on there because I bumped into Rik at one point, and on a train station platform of a train station, and I bumped into him and I said hello, and he sort of looked at me as if to say, you know, do you want a selfie or a signature? And I said to him, I don't want anything, just meeting you is enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
And he turned to me and he said, you're awesome, and buggered off.
Yeah.
And that's my own Rik story, and I put that on your 1-by-1 page as well.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, that's kind of, I think Rik he loved the attention, but he was like an introvert extrovert, if that makes sense. Like, he loved the attention and talking to people, but he also was quite a private person too. And every person that he met with has a positive story about him. And like, for example, there was one guy on a set called Jake who had been a massive Rik fan all his life. And the first day Rik came to set, Jake was like a bit of a nervous wreck about meeting him and stuff like that. And the first thing Rik said to him is, will you run lines with me? And he was running lines. So there's Jake running lines with one of his heroes, just going, what's going on? This is so weird. So it's stories like that I really, really like. For me, I remember the first time I had a conversation with him on the phone about the film. I say I remember it. I remember where I was stood, and I remember the sunlight coming through the window. The conversation I don't really recall because I was a nervous wreck. Kind of going, oh my God, I'm on the phone to Rik Mayall. This guy's going to be in my film, and stuff like that. And I suppose my favourite on-set story of Rik was the first day when he came on, like the second or third day. Because when we filmed 10 days back to back, and then we did like 10 weekends afterwards. And Rik was involved in the 10-day block that we were filming. And he turned up for his first scene, which is, without giving too much away, was in a hospital, and we kind of had a chat, and we got on and we filmed it. And then we moved to the main location that the film was set in, which is a cafe. And we were filming, I think we were actually filming the end of the film at that point. And I warn viewers, I'm going to quote Rik, and he's a fan of the C word. So if you're offended by this word, block your ears for the next 2 minutes. So we were filming, and I was filming him on a close-up, and I cut the camera, and he went, fuck, cunt, bitch, I was going to give you so much more. And I just went, well, I wasn't happy, so we're going again. And he went, yes, boss. And that is then what he called me for the rest of the shoot. He called me boss all the time. And this is when I was a smoker too, so we would go out and have crafty cigarettes together and have a chat and just talk about it all. And he was really fascinated in, like I said earlier, he was fascinated in me and my journey, and we talked quite a lot about that. And I mean, he gave me a brilliant bit of advice the last time I saw him, and that was, this is all great, Diane, but fall in love, because that will help you through. And I took that on board, and lucky enough, I met someone 2.5 years ago, and be history now. So there you go. So it's, I mean, that was personal advice that he didn't need to give me, and I will forever treasure those moments of drinking tea and smoking cigarettes and well, not treasuring smoking cigarettes because I don't do that anymore, but drinking tea and just talking to him about me and my career and life and all those sorts of things. He was just amazing. He was just amazing, and I am very, very blessed not only to have met him, but to have spent time with him, and he's with me all the time. I said this earlier, that when you meet somebody and they have an impact on your life, or if they be that positive or negative, you carry that with you. They shape who you are. I mean, I met Rik 7 years ago and he's still very much a part of my life. And I am truly grateful for that. Truly grateful for that.
Did you get any inclination from him, when you finished filming the film and it was all in the can and it was done? I'm assuming that he saw the film. Did you get any inclination of what he thought about it?
He did, but you have to remember that we only finished editing it putting it together in December 2013. So it was only just ready the following year, and that's the year that he died. So right. I know he got a copy of it. I don't know whether he watched it. I don't know what he thought about it. So I don't know the answers to that. So, he said to me the last time I saw him, when it's ready, we'll get together, we'll watch it and we'll talk about it. I was like, great, okay. But obviously that never happened. So, but no, all I can say is what he told me about choosing the film, that he said to me that he got 100 or so scripts a week. And he would pick and choose the ones he wanted to do, which I think was lovely. And he started to read mine, and he didn't stop reading it until he got to the end. And the fact that I was asking, like he said, he was good at comedy. He's also good at playing the villain. He'd never been asked to do kind of a dramatic role quite like that. And on set, he would say he wanted to be the next Anthony Hopkins, and kind of he wanted to kind of go that way. And I think that was, he liked that I considered him for something like that. I think if you can act comedy, you can act anything. So I think that giving him this kind of opportunity was, well, not giving him this opportunity, but giving him the script to read. He was kind of like, oh, this is a bit different. Let's give this a go. And he's a bit of a revolutionary. So working with someone who's not got any credits might have appealed to him. I don't know, that's speculation, but I like to think that he read the script, saw that I was a nobody, and was like, oh, let's give this a go, shall we? So yeah.
But if he gets 100 scripts a week, I mean, you're quite fortunate that he actually read it. I would imagine that he would be reading and he'd put down most of them pretty early on.
Normally when you send scripts to anybody, be that script editors, directors, cast, agents, normally they read, depending on the length of it, they read the first 5 pages. So, obviously saw something in those first 5 pages that he liked and kept on reading. So, or he could have just cut to his first line and gone, what's my first line? And to see that, lots of actors sometimes do that as well. They read the lines that they're expected to say. And I mean, Rik's got a beautiful monologue in the middle about Plato in it. And I would say, I mean, again, speculation, but from knowing him, that appealed to him. So, he said to me that because obviously my background was theatre before it was film, that he could tell the way that I was directing that. And I think that still bleeds into my work now, that my theatre training kind of, filming everything is kind of what I like to do. I like to film every single. It's to say, for example, we're filming a scene between you and I, we would set up one camera on me and film everything. We'd set one camera on you and film everything. We wouldn't just film the lines that I do, because it's all about how people react and just little mannerisms that I like. I'm fascinated by people and the human condition, and how people respond to the things that happen to them and are done to them. And that's something that I like to convey when making or telling a story. So, yeah.
Well, the old passion thing comes through. Yeah, we've got a few minutes left. I think we've got about 4 minutes left. So in that time, is there anything that you want to end with, or is there any way you want to direct people? And the website, the one by one movie, and give people some sort of idea of when you're expecting to be able to get the DVDs on sale again. I know it's after 17th of May, but it's not going to be straight away, is it?
No, I don't imagine it'll be straight away, because obviously there's things we have to do. We have to get things up and running and stuff like that. But I don't imagine it will be, it's not going to be months, not like people have had to wait now. So it will be, I'm hoping it'll be a couple of weeks or so. So, I mean, like I said, 17th of May is back to us. But if anybody is there and they want a copy of it, or want us to tell them rather than them searching, if they send an email to boilingfrogfilms@gmail.com, and in the subject they put, I want an OBO, so one by one, OBO DVD. They don't have to put anything inside the email, just they send that. I will keep the email address, and as soon as it's available, I will send them a link. So it means that people aren't keep going to our Facebook page, or they would like that. They aren't still going back to our Facebook page or our website looking for answers. They'll know that I'll get in touch with them as soon as it is available for them to buy. I mean, the Facebook page, for anyone that's kind of new to us, the Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/one-by-one-the-movie. Go on, there's loads of stuff on there. I mean, there's loads of things for people to watch. There's loads of bits of random information. There's also the one by one Facebook group, which has stories and things like that, and photographs. So, I mean, we're quite personable, Ash and I. So send us a message if you've got any questions and stuff like that. And obviously bear with us if we are not getting back to you instantly. But yeah, and the website's www.oneby1themovie.co.uk, and so they can check that out. And if anyone wants to check out the work that I'm doing at the moment, search for The Little Green D or The Little Green Door. Our website's thelittlegreendoor.com. So yeah, that's me.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Diane. It has been it's been a great 2 hours again. One of my favourite guests last year, and certainly one of my favourite guests this year as well. I'd like to say thank you to you for coming on Raconteurs News. Andy's probably gutted he's missed it, but I know he's been listening. So, yeah, I want to say thank you for coming on. I'd recommend to anybody, go to the websites, the links that Diane's just told us about. Get yourself a copy of this DVD. Support independent filmmakers, because Diane won't be able to make any more films. I mean, this is Rik Mayall we're talking about here, who thought this was worthy of his time. And so if it's worthy of his time, it's worth a tenner of your money. Get yourself a DVD and support independent media. I'd like to say thank you to you, Diane.
You're welcome.
And we'll have you on again pretty soon. I'm really sure we will. Right, so for everybody else, that's been Raconteurs News tonight. I'm Jason Holmes, and stick around. The happy hour's on next with Not Dr. Tamara and Luby as well. And next week, I think Andy's back. It's going to be, we're having Peter Robbins is going to be on the show next week, and I think Andy's coming back for that. So I'd like to say thank you to Tony as well for producing for us tonight, and keep listening to Raconteurs News and Raconteurs 2.